Ah, right, I can start with that one because we had a meeting. There was Terry, myself, and Jay, and we sat at a meeting. And realistically, the first thing that came up was, hey, the usual thing that we all say at this time of the year or that time of the year, mid-table, and the answer was no. Let's go for it, and that's what was put on the table at the time.
I think I was asked, can we win it? To which I said, yeah, I think we can.
Just before the start of the season, you made the decision to bring Nicky Southall in and take Steve out, which obviously couldn't have been easy for you to do. I mean, how are things with Steve?
Yeah, no, I still get on well with him. I speak to him a lot. It was difficult. I think Steve, with work commitments, found it a little bit hard. And he was going away just before the season. And it was just a decision I had to make. They're not easy ones, especially when you've had a good few years together. Obviously won a promotion and then won the cup and sort of things, but sometimes you have to make decisions, and it was one I had to think about, and certainly wasn't an easy one, but it was something that I felt at the time we had to do.
What did Nicky bring that was different to what Steve was doing?
I think Nick's always been in football, so when you've always been in football, you see it kind of your life. So for him, work-wise, out of it, he does a bit of coaching obviously elsewhere, but it's one of them where it's just that full-time commitment, if you like. And if I rang him on a Friday night and said you need to go to Bognor to watch a game, he'd get in his car and do it, and that's sometimes what you need. So I think it has worked quite well. And also Jamie Cole's been a big part of the coaching setup. He's been a big help as well.
I think from my point of view, looking at Jay, the big thing that he did this year, apart from the personnel that he brought in, that tactically it was just changed. It was just tweaked. You know, I think you'll be the first to admit he likes the good old-fashioned 4-4-2. You know, get at them, get crosses in, score as many goals as you can, and he made an effort, a concerted decision to say, hey, we're going to play with the two holding Jack Parkinson and James Rogers, and it allowed the four in front to get on, but when we lost it, we had that extra defender there, which the previous year we didn't really have when Alex Brown was playing in there, and it was causing us a lot of problems. So yeah, I think he needs a real well done for that change that I think helped us win that league this year.
And what point in the season did you think it was going to be as special as it actually became?
Oh dear, that's a difficult one to think back on, because I can remember there was a time when we said, hey, we're going to do this, and then there was a time when we said, hey, wait a minute, we're in a bit of trouble here, we better start getting a few more recruits in. So, but I can't remember exactly when that time was.
No, I think I remember when we bought Shane and we bought Bill, and at that point we thought we need to strengthen at that point. Yeah. Obviously, I think whenever you have a cup run, you normally find teams sort of, the league form fades, but we went on a good run after the cup run. At that point I thought we got a good chance, and especially at that point I remember Margate they had a lot of games they could have gone a big advantage over us, and they didn't take them, and I thought at that point, yeah, we've got a chance here. And it was probably after the Margate game I really thought that's them out of the equation, I think we could go on and win it. But then obviously when we lost to Hendon, you're like, alright, okay. So there weren't.
We didn't panic at any time in the season. We were always totally in control, Fred.
So you get the first big game is arguably the Margate away game.
Yeah.
And that's sort of memorable for the Steve Watt disallowed goal.
Yeah.
But I mean, did you come out of that thinking that you'd seen enough that you were going to, you were at least capable of finishing ahead of?
Well, I don't know about Jay, but sitting in the stand, I thought there was nothing for us to be frightened about here, which you weren't sure about. Well, I wasn't sure about when we went down there, but having played the game, I thought we should have won that game, and there was nothing that frightened us there.
No, I remember having that conversation with Bill afterwards, and it was the first. I remember talking to the lads in the dressing room afterwards. You could see they were all gutted, but I sort of said to them that, having seen that, we've got every chance this year, because I think at that point they were on a good start to the season. Everyone was raving about them and how they were going to run away with it, and I remember coming away from there thinking we'll be okay.
Straight to Stevenage. I mean, if I asked you how many out of 10 you thought your chances were of, well, first of all getting a draw up in their place and then actually beating them, what do you reckon?
I could, hand on heart, I thought it was going to be very difficult. I don't know. I really did. I thought it was going to be difficult. We always have faith in the team, don't we? We have confidence, but it was a difficult draw.
Yeah, I felt at the away game that we played better than the home game. We beat them. I thought we were better and we had better chances up there. And I must admit, coming away from their drawing, thinking that might be our best chance gone. But then you always fancy yourself at home. We've got a good record, obviously, and after seeing them in the first game, I thought, well, yeah, we've got half a chance, but it might have been our best chance gone. Especially we had a couple of good chances up there, Flisher and that, but no, it's a tough one to answer.
Was he offside for the goal?
I think France, quite honestly, say he was probably just.
Yeah, it looked it on the TV, didn't it? It looked like he was offside. But you know,
it's a great point.
We have to rely on the referees and the assistant referees.
No point in arguing, is there?
No,
So,
It was a good response after we conceded just after half time to keep going, and then it's a hell of a ball from Ben. And
that was a great ball.
less than 48 hours after that, you've got to play Met Police.
Yeah.
How physically exhausted were the players at that point?
I think it was more mentally than physically. I think I thought at Met Police we didn't play that bad. We had a lot of possession. We conceded 2 goals. I think we conceded one from a free kick quite early on. Then obviously the one when we was sort of trying to put pressure on, they had a breakaway. But it was hard. I think the boys were still buzzing from the game, and then we got to Met Police, and the atmosphere is a little bit different. The change room and everything. It was hard, and I knew it was going to be hard.
What was the gate that day? 64, was it? 64
Probably
or
about
something.
200, 300.
Yeah, so
something
that
like
was one man and his dog in the
Yeah. And that's the hardest bit. You can see in a warm up, you're trying to get the lads going, and they've been from here, set out TV cameras to that, and we knew that was always going to be hard. And if I'm honest, on that day, if we'd have got a point, I'd have been happy with that. So unfortunately, we didn't.
So the next big talking point was Alex Flisher's injury.
Yeah.
Do you think we would have won the league much more convincingly had he been fit for the rest of the season? If that's not an obvious question.
It would have helped, wouldn't it? It definitely would have helped. I mean, you can't say because you can't tell. We may have gone and played terribly for the rest of the year. You don't know. But yes, I think he would have definitely helped. I know Jay, we looked at that tackle many times, and it was a fair tackle. I mean. It looked a bad tackle at the time, and he copped a bad injury, but it was a fair hard tackle, wasn't it?
Yeah, I must admit. 9 times out of 10 that happened, and he'd get up and walk away. And it was just unfortunate the way his leg was planted. But I think we'd have. Certainly, I mean, we tried to replace him a little bit on the left, but we missed him. I think up front was where he was looking his biggest threat, but he's certainly always an outlet for us. We had good pace at the beginning of the season with Bodds on the right and him on the left. We had good pace either side, and we certainly lost something when we lost him. Yeah, I think he had 16 goals by the time he got injured, so you're going to miss that.
So after that, you've gone from this sort of high in the cup run, and then Alex Fisher's injured, and there's this spate of last-minute goals.
Yeah.
Was that sheer bad luck, or was there something at fault in the team?
You better answer that, mate.
It's a bit of both, isn't it? It's a bit of both. You conceding sloppy goals at the end. I think we went through a stage where we were getting punished for our mistakes. I mean, you only have to look at Sonny. I think that's when he went through a little bit of a bad spell. And the own goal against Tunbridge here, Peacehaven, a last-minute penalty. Although we weren't good enough down at Peacehaven really to get more than a point. So there's a bit of both. But I think Hendon, I don't think they had a shot at goal here, and then last-minute corner. But that was after Jay had to come off, and we were quite small on the pitch. I can't remember who else had come off that day. So it's a bit of both, but yeah, I do think there was a little bit of unfortunate. It just seemed every mistake we made, we got punished for it at that stage.
You get that in a season, though, don't you?
Yeah.
You do. You'll have a period of things happening. You'll make a substitution, and every time it happens, something positive happens. You score goals or something. Another time, you'll do exactly the same thing, and so
I think it all evens itself out.
You get that.
Did you notice, without mentioning specific clubs, but when you're playing against certain teams, there's a sort of increase in the kind of behaviour where players pressure the referee to get decisions this season?
Not really. I think in general, referees probably struggle with pressure a little bit here, and I think that's why they get assessed every week here. I think they put them in this environment for a reason, and I do think when they put in the young refs in that environment here, that it's hard for them, because they probably think if they give us everything, then the managers of the other team are going to be on their back. So it's a difficult one. We had, was it Harrow? I remember playing Harrow at home. I think when the keeper was time wasting for about the 10th minute. I think he was delaying, and I remember him sort of trying to kick up as if it was grass, trying to get it. But yeah, no, there was some strange things that went on, and then generally you get people that come here and they set up, and they sort of shut up shop and appeal for everything, and sometimes they get it.
Is there ever a point where you thought your own players went too far in that regard this year?
No, I don't think so. Possibly, if I look back and watched all the games again, there may be. But there was times we did speak to them about disciplinary. I think you have to. But football's it's a tough. You got a lot of different personalities in change, and people react different ways. And they were only in it to try and win the league, and that's sometimes. But sometimes they did cross the line, and I remember we had a chat with them, and we tried to stand down with them.
Took some money off them and all that sort of thing. But I think that sort of surrounding referees, it's become a little bit too much in the game. It happens, you see it in the Premiership, the Championship, you see it in international football even. And it's something that could easily be wiped out, you know, if they even did this silly old rugby thing that everyone talks about, just want to do that, move them back 10 yards, or do something and just stop. That needs to stop. We will try and do it as a club. We don't like that.
So getting towards the closing stages of the season, and specifically at Margate game here, when they were 1-0 up, sort of getting towards half time, were you worried that it was that they were going to score 2 or 3, or did you feel confident that they turned it around?
I'll answer that first.
Yeah, you do yours first.
Because I was on that far side when they had a second chance. Right. I was stood on that far corner, the second chance, and I was worried. At that stage, definitely.
Were you worried, Jay?
Going in towards half time, yeah. I think first 15-20 minutes was okay, and then I thought we changed our shape that day to match them, and I thought they looked more comfortable with it. And then I think Brownlie's goal probably turned the whole game.
In the second half, they just seemed to go, didn't they?
I think that knocked the stuffing out of them. I think obviously they got an injury as well to Luke Moore, who's one of their main men, and I think
and to Fippy.
And Fippy, yeah. I think Luke's was the biggest loss for him, and I just think Brownlie's goal really, you could see as we were going in at half time, Terry Brown and a lot of these players looked a little bit like that was. I think when they missed a couple of good chances, he probably knew they were chances they probably should have took. And then once we got them in and had a chat with them, and I think the players after Brownlie's goal started to really believe they could do it.
And then from that you go to Hendon, and you've got various people saying you've already won the league, and then you go to Hendon, and what happened there? Well, we know what happened.
Do you know what? I thought for the first half hour it was probably the best we played for a few weeks. I thought we were very good away from home. We scored the goal. We had 2 more good chances, didn't take them.
2 great chances.
Yeah. So, and then I still look back, and I don't think they had a shot in open play this year. They took 4 points off of us, and they had a free kick, a penalty up at their place, and they scored from a corner here. And even at 2-1, I still thought we'd get back in this. I felt quite confident, but no, you had to give them credit. They sort of, when they've gone into leads in games, they've been managed to sort of hold on to them. So it was always difficult. That's one of the grounds. They're not playing the next season, but yeah, I won't miss going there. That's for sure.
The schedule was such that it was going to be a really tall order for them to pull it off. I mean, did you always think they would drop points somewhere? Yeah,
they had to. I didn't think they could win all their games. I don't think anyone's capable of doing that, and I just sort of, it was a weird feeling, because in a space, I think a week later, we were suddenly like 4 points clear again, and it swung very quickly. But I did feel confident that we'd get another chance at it. But they were on a great run, and you hope they're going to drop points, and it was just trying to keep our lads motivated, which they did. They did stay motivated, and luckily enough, we turned it round.
So from there, you get to the Dulwich game, and it obviously wasn't a classic, but how aware were you of the result from, or the scores from Grays?
I wasn't at all, to be honest. At half time, I think a few of the lads mentioned that it was 0-0 there, the ones that weren't involved, but I wasn't really aware of what the score was. And even when we come on the pitch at the end, I sort of remember shaking the official's hand, and then someone, I think it was a supporter or one of the players, and that was when all the carnage started. I remember at Harrow Away, there's a fella kept shouting out every 5 minutes, Hendon, sorry, and you sort of know, I'd rather not know. I always remember, I go back to the year we won the playoffs, and Dulwich were playing away, I think, or at home to Burgess Hill, and the crowd was singing because we were top of the league and everything, and then in the space of about 10 minutes it just went dead, and I was like, oh, that means we're not going up. But no, it's a strange one. I'd rather not know, but you're always going to get that where people are shouting.
You're trying to look polite when people are shouting at you.
And of course it was like an anti-climax, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Really, because you weren't really sure.
No, I felt it didn't feel right.
It didn't. It was a funny celebration. I
thought the game summed it up. I think whenever we played Dulwich, they've always been end-to-end games, and that was like two teams who didn't really want to commit for the win.
Yeah.
So then, it all seems like it's over, and then 24 hours before the final game, suddenly the FA decide out of nowhere to reignite the entire season. And did that change your approach to the Grays game? Did you go in thinking, right, we've actually got to win this now, just to make sure we don't get sucked into it?
It did. I remember coming to you and saying to you about it, and I think Bill was aware. And then I remember Ian ringing Kelly at the league, and Kelly saying that there's no way the game will be replayed or anything like that, or take points off you. But I wanted to win the league on 100 points. I liked to have got a Dulwich got to win. So we were very focused. I think leading up to the last game, we could have had the nights off training, and we've already won it, but we didn't. We trained both nights, and we wanted to go out and win, especially as it was a sellout here. And so I think we was always focused on it, and it was a case. I did use it as part of the team talk that that Ryman could make us replay it and stuff to sort of try and get the lads up for it. But
did you think they'd get it quite as confused as they actually got it?
No, that's unbelievable, isn't it? How the FA and the league is high up in the pyramid is this one is could not make a decision and have it all in place for the right dates, and it must of course mayhem in the clubs. I mean, can you imagine it happening to us? Can you imagine us having to be waiting now? All our players all going to go on holidays. It's ridiculous.
I'd have 5 players not available if the game was playing tonight.
Yeah.
And they're 5 players that would play as well, so it would cause major. And I'm just thankful really that we weren't involved for it. I do feel for the other clubs.
Yeah, we are the champions.
Right, one last one. Just what's the target for next season?
Well, we can't answer that yet because we haven't sat down with Terry, and we are superstitious at this club, and we will sit down like we always do with Terry, myself and Jay. We'll see where we are in maybe a month's time as regards all the recruits and everyone who's signed up, and then I think we'll be able to answer that question then.
Okay.